Good morning, everybody, and welcome to I Wonder Wednesday. Today we are going to take a deep dive into the wild, wonderful world of sea turtles. Now, sea turtles are really old as a species. They've been around for well over 150 million years. They are an air-breathing marine reptile, which means they can dive very deep into the ocean, hold their breath for hours on end, but ultimately they got to get back up to get a breath of air. There are 7 species of sea turtles found throughout the oceans of the world. The smallest is the Kemp's Ridley turtle, and the largest is the leatherback turtle, reaching up to 9 feet and close to 2,000 pounds. Now, life as a turtle is tough. They start out with a clutch of eggs, which is a group of eggs, and there's usually about 100 eggs within a clutch. And when those eggs hatch, they're called hatchlings, the little baby turtles make their way towards the open ocean. And they aim for the slope of the sand and the light of the horizon, or the white water of the breaking waves. And here on the East Coast, in places maybe like in the Outer Banks or some parts of the Carolinas, when it's turtle hatching season, they'll ask the local residents to turn their lights off at night to make sure that those turtles are going to head in the right direction. Now, as those baby sea turtles head out into the ocean, and keep in mind that only roughly about 1 out of 1,000 baby turtles makes it to an adult. They're going to swim out into the open ocean, and they're going to head all the way out to the Gulf Stream, where there's an area called the Sargasso Sea. And within the Sargasso Sea, it's kind of like this big floating mat of sea grasses and marine life, and those baby sea turtles will spend about a year called rafting and just kind of hanging out, floating around in that seagrass, eating lots of very goodies that are floating around there in the marine environment. And they'll spend about a year out there. Now, most species of turtles would then head back into coastal areas until they reach maturity, which is roughly 7 to 10 years, depending on their species. Once they hit that mature age, they'll head back out into the pelagic zone of the ocean, which is the big open ocean, and they'll mate. Then the female turtles will head back to the areas, the same beaches where they were hatched from. They have this amazing internal GPS, and some turtles have been tracked over 10,000 miles getting back to their original breeding grounds. The female turtles will crawl up onto the beach, they will dig a hole in the sand, they will lay that clutch of roughly around 100 eggs, and then they head back out into the ocean. And it takes upwards of 2 months for those eggs to hatch. Pretty incredible. Now, different species of turtles eat different kinds of foods. So for example, the green sea turtle, like our friend that we can see up here on the wall, and they're called green sea turtles because they have a layer of green fat that can be seen under their shells. These guys are herbivores. They only eat sea grasses and corals, and they have a beak that is serrated like a steak knife to help cut through the sea grasses as they come up from the seabed. Now, there's another species of turtle called the loggerhead that have these big, thick heads and these really strong jaws. And those guys are carnivores. They are designed to eat shellfish and mollusks and shrimp and crabs and all of those yummy things. And then there's a species of turtle called the flatback, which is an omnivore. And those guys eat a combination of both corals and seagrasses and fish and jellyfish and sea cucumbers. So depending on the species, again, depends on what they eat. Now, you ready for some awesome sea turtle facts? Here we go. All right, the largest of the sea turtles is the leatherback sea turtle. These guys can grow up to 9 feet in length and weigh close to 2,000 pounds. And here's the cool thing about leatherback turtles. They do not have a shell. They have a thick, heavy, oily skin that protects them, and these long ridges of cartilage that run down their backs to help protect them. And cartilage is the same material that we find in our ears and the flexible part of our noses. Now, this would be an example of a green sea turtle right here. All of the other species of turtles have a hard shell called a carapace and a bottom called the plastron. And they have shells that are made up of these individual plates called scutes. And as the turtles grow, these scutes are shed and new scutes form, except for the leatherback. Now, another really neat piece of information about sea turtles is, unlike freshwater turtles, sea turtles cannot retract their flippers into their shells, nor can they pull their heads into the shells for protection. Now, by far, the greatest threat to our friends the sea turtles are man. From poaching for food or for jewelry, or as a bycatch product in commercial fishing, to pollution in the oceans, that's what takes the heaviest toll on our turtle populations. And also, I wanted to tell you that the leatherback turtle's primary diet is jellyfish. So you have this massive animal that feeds off of jellyfish. Pretty cool, huh? All right. One other thing that I wanted to tell you before we head out today is sometimes you'll see pictures of a turtle which looks like it's crying. But don't be sad, turtles don't cry. They have glands in their eyes that help them to secrete excess salt that builds up in their bodies. So there you go, my friends, some pretty cool information about the sea turtles. I hope you will join us next week for I Wonder Wednesday when Lisa talks about the Artemis Moon mission. Thanks for your time today. Stay well, everybody.